start things off, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of give us the convention pitch for
Yeah,
Between Heartbeats?
yeah, brilliant. Right. So my name's Jake Willey. I'm the managing director of Blimbu Games Limited, and also the lead designer of Between Heartbeats, which is a shoot 'em up game set inside the human body, and we're releasing it on Xbox One and PC later this year.
Right, and right now you're kind of in front of your IndieGoGo campaign, which is going to be coming on the 25th, correct?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
So, what has that process been like? Because if in doing my research, I saw that you kind of started Between Heartbeats as a mobile game, right? And then you're
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
right. Yeah.
moving it over into more console and PC. So, what has that change been like, and what's your preparation been for IndieGoGo?
Well, we had the original concept for the mobile game years ago because it came from an event that we attended, which is called the Global Game Jam, and it was based on like a theme of a heartbeat. That was like the theme that we had to make a game on,
Cool.
and we went on to release the concept that we made that weekend as the mobile game, which you mentioned.
Hmm.
But then we kind of thought to ourselves that there was more to be explored with that kind of setting and that kind of that influence and stuff. And at the time, I just started university as well. And as our skills progressed and we started being able to do more stuff because of the stuff that we was learning, we all kind of thought, you know what, this concept we could go back and revisit it and we could make it something better than what it was. And the process of shifting the design of it from keeping the setting but changing the design of the gameplay and everything to more of a shoot 'em up style basis. It
Sure.
was to be honest, I think we spent like a week literally just playing shoot 'em ups. We just spent like an entire week just actually.
Research. So
Yes, such hard.
hard.
But no, it was really good, and to be honest, at the minute, getting all of the stuff in preparation for the Indiegogo, we've launched pre-campaign stuff via like Thunderclap and Head Talker. Luckily, our Head Talker's already been successfully reached, and in case you don't know what those are, they're basically like you put a message out on there, and then you get supporters to follow it and give their feedback and stuff. And then when your goal is hit, the date that you've specified, that message then gets sent out via those social media accounts. So it's
Right.
like a way of kind of promoting the stuff that you wanted to promote.
Right, excellent. So, that game jam you talked about that
Yep.
kind of brought this idea of Between Heartbeats to life. Um, how did your team decide to go the direction you did? Because that really is what attracted me to your game, was the fact that you're setting this kind of shooter inside the human body, which when I saw it was kind of like, why hasn't this been done before? This is brilliant. I mean, why haven't people done this more? So how did you arrive to that idea, and how did you arrive to the plan of setting this game inside the
Well,
human body?
I remember like there was a keynote video, and all the video it was literally like a massive 5 minute build up of announcing this theme, and then about a 3 second clip of a heartbeat, and we was all kind of like, "What is that it?" And it was like a massive build up, and then literally that. But we just kind of sat there. I turned to the guy sitting next to me, and I said, "You know what? I think if instead of a lot of people at that weekend, as I expected, was kind of focusing things like fear and stuff like that, like sound of heartbeat clips and
Right.
stuff like that. And I thought, so what if we instead of just hearing it, you're actually like right next to it. And I thought, what if we go inside instead of outside like everybody else would be? And we kind of sat there and thought, right, okay, so if you're inside the body as the setting, we kind of decided that, and we thought, what would the character be? And the initial thought that we had was, the heart. You think more like, blood pumping and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So we thought, what if the gameplay is inside the blood as well? And naturally, in the blood, you get different like kinds of blood cells and all this kind of thing. So that led on to the red blood cell being like the main character of that version of it. And I think then eventually, just as we came to sort of advancing it to being a shoot 'em up, we kind of thought if we wanted it to be something that could shoot inside the body, more likely it would have to be something that wasn't a natural thing. It would have
Right.
to be kind of like robotic or kind of fused with something else to be able to pull that off inside the body as well. So that's when we kind of thought, okay. Originally, we was going to go down the route of having a red blood cell that was kind of buffed up with metal chips, but we thought that would look a bit weird. So we then went, okay, but what if we, instead of just being a blood cell that's buffed up, what if it's just a robot that's put in there? And that's where that kind of idea came from. And we thought instead of maybe just having the one that does everything, what if there's like a pair of them and they kind of work in tandem with each other? Like one's kind of the clever part of it, and the other one's the guy who does the shooting and the destroying of the viruses and all that kind of thing. So, which is where the two main characters of the game came from. They both kind of represent like that brains and brawn.
Right.
So
So that's kind of an excellent segue into the next thing I was wondering about was, so you've got this process in the game where you can scan all these different viruses and they get added to your database, and I'm assuming more and more as you go along, you're going to find more and more stuff. How
Yeah.
much of this, in the way that you're approaching it, is educational? Are you looking to base things in real viruses, real systems in the body, or is it more of just you're using this as a really excellent backdrop?
We kind of originally wanted to go down the route of having it more kind of educational, but we thought to ourselves, if we go down that route, people might look at it if it gets advertised as educational and think, ugh, don't really want to, because there's a lot of great educational games out there, but we wanted to make something that kids could pick up and think, well, I'm just shooting stuff here.
Right.
This is fantastic. So we kind of took inspiration from things that are already in the body, and then kind of twisted them ourselves a little bit to make them more like gameplay friendly, almost. And we kind of thought viruses and stuff they already kind of naturally have that instinct to when they see something that isn't, or they don't think it's supposed to be there, or they want to take over it, they're going to kind of like want to swarm around it and stuff like that, which is where the inspiration for like the green virus type came from.
Right.
The whole kind of idea of it kind of finding you, and as soon as it's found you, whizzing in. And yeah, yeah, and and that's where we thought if these virus types are going to be kind of our own sort of ideas of what we'd imagine they'd be like, we want to kind of put them so they're more sort of specified for the zones that they're in as well. Because the demo that I sent you is only literally just the bloodstream at the minute.
Right.
But there's more areas that the game's going to explore into, like the brain, stomach, and then eventually like the heart and stuff as well. And in the brain, obviously, we kind of think like electrical impulses and stuff like that. So the viruses are kind of reflecting of that as well, with like electric type viruses and stuff. And that's why we kind of went down the route of also including like bodily sort of obstacles and stuff in there as well that kind of would be there, or what we'd imagine would be there, just kind of stuff to, even though this virus is mainly the objective that you have to destroy and stuff, these obstacles are kind of there to just mess your day up as well. So
Right, yeah. I mean, the first time I ran into that playing the pre-alpha demo, it was like, whoa, the white cells are coming. Great. I mean, and I will include a link in this interview to the demo. Encourage people to check it out. We'll have footage as a backdrop too. Kind of turning from Between Heartbeats to Blimbu Games specifically, what is kind of your story? What's the team makeup, and how did you all get started in indie game development?
Okay, well, there's four of us at the minute. There's me, my brother, our friend Alex, and Bob as well. And we all started in the idea for the whole sort of making a team started, me and Bob in college. We kind of got together with a group of friends and we sort of said, you know what, we're learning all this stuff. Why don't we use like a group project as a way to kind of hone those skills as well? And if we've all got a focus, it's a better way to kind of learn what you're doing at the same time if you're focusing on a specific thing. And that kind of just snowballed from there. We got to university. We met more people that had more talents. Some people dropped out and other people's joined us. Like we met Alex in university and stuff like that. And we just kind of thought to ourselves, like, this is actually going somewhere. You know, we had this, that mobile version of Between Heartbeats got picked up by Evangelist for Microsoft at the Game Jam event. And he was kind of in contact with us after we'd done that. And that kind of got us thinking, you know, if these people are kind of noticing what we're doing, maybe it's not just something that we can use as an educational thing for our benefit. Maybe it's something that we could, you know, take forward. And it got to last year, the year before last, we incorporated as a business. We thought to ourselves, you know what, if we're going to actually do this one day, registering as a business right now isn't going to be detrimental to us or anything. Right. It's going to be something that we can, you know, if we do want to pursue it later. And then the following year, we actually managed to get this version of Between Heartbeats playable at EGX, which is like the UK's equivalent of E3. It's like the biggest gaming expo in the UK. And it just, like I say, everything's kind of happened while we've still been in university. Like I literally just found out my grade for university like a couple of weeks ago. And it's just, it's crazy, really. We applied for the Idea Xbox program with the really early version of Between Heartbeats that we had, and that got approved. And then we thought, you know, if that's got approved, maybe the other people will.
Right.
So we originally put a very early demo of it on Steam as well, which randomly got greenlit one day. I got an email. I'd kind of put a short climb through that and thought that's not going to happen. And then I got an email and I was like, okay, it did happen. Yeah. So that's where we kind of thought, okay, maybe this is something that we could make some money off of, and we could get our games out there and our ideas out there. And since then, it's just been our passion. It's all we've wanted to do. So
awesome. And now you're the designer and programmer, or one of them on Between Heartbeats. Is this what you've studied through school, or is it something you picked up before school?
All my game design stuff is really come from my college and my university experience, really. I've been doing it for about 5 years educationally, and now is the first time that we're actually branching out into doing it without being in education. So, all my programming skills I picked up through mainly my university course and all the design course as well, which is the past 3 years. So this is the first time. This will be the first game that we've got out there with all those sort of skills intertwined into it, which is kind of crazy, really, to think about.
Absolutely, it's cool. So getting away from specifically indie development and more learning about you guys as kind of gamers, what other games do you play? What is kind of the library of games that informs the games you like and the games you want to create?
My favorite game franchise is completely different between Heartbeats. It's the Legend of Zelda of all things,
Right?
and but I think really that still that sense of being in these locations that are kind of you wouldn't see that anywhere really in like a Legend of Zelda game. The stuff that's in those, that's what attracts me to them is the fact that you're never going to see that anywhere, and I think that's something that I try to reflect in the designs of my games and stuff as well. Is like putting them in places that people are never really going to see.
Right.
Or at least not in that perspective anyway. And I also play games like Halo. That's an absolute favorite of mine. Really into just played that Inside, that new indie game that came out at the minute. That is fantastic. I absolutely love that.
I just finished that up too. I finished it yesterday morning and spent the
Yeah.
rest of the day kind of confused by
Yeah.
what I had just seen, not really sure how to take it. All right, and kind of to wrap this up, what are there any other indie development teams that you run into or people you know of that you think, as somebody who's developing games, is doing something really cool that's worth people checking out?
Yeah, I last year when we was at EGX, there was the guys next to us were Cuckoo Squeaky, and they were working on the names completely escape me now, but they were working on this really cool like turn-based top-down JRPG style thing. And that, the guy that I was talking to, he actually works in the games industry as well, and he's kind of doing this all in his spare time, and it looks absolutely fantastic for what he's doing. And the team that he's with, and they're all kind of spread out all over the world as well, and they're collaborating on this project from these different countries together, and still managing to make something that looks so well polished and so beautiful without even being in the same room is just astonishing to me.
Absolutely.
So
Cool. Well, that's great. We'll make sure to check them out. I'm sure you want to do the pitch for people to check out the IndieGoGo campaign. So
Yeah.
why don't you close us out with that?
Been practicing for this. No, so if you guys could please check out the IndieGoGo campaign, which is launching on July 25th. And the goal is set for £10,000. We've got a load of stretch goals on there to help us get this game out on day one for like PlayStation 4 and Wii U and stuff. And you can find the links on social media, and I'm sure these lovely people will put it on the page as well for this interview. So, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, Jake Willey of Blimbu Games, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and
Thank you very much.
give us a little bit background about Between Heartbeats.
Thank you very much.